Welcome to High Stakes. I'm your host, Tracey Devlyn. On this show, I chat with authors about the moments in their stories that change everything, what's at stake, what it costs, and why we can't look away. From thrillers to romance to sci-fi and beyond. Let's get to it. Joining me today is New York Times bestselling author Julianne Walker to talk about her new romantic suspense, Black Widow. Welcome to the show, Jules.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. It's good to see you.
So great to see you. As I mentioned before I hit the record button, I've been looking forward to our conversations that we can reconnect. Like me, you have transplanted from the Chicago area to Western North Carolina, and I was curious, do the Blue Ridge Mountains speak to you as much as they speak to
Oh,
me?
absolutely, absolutely. As you well know, I'm a prolific hiker. In fact, I take my dog for a hike at least 6 days a week. And anytime I have a plot hole, motivation issues, whatever, I swear I tie on the hiking boots and I go out into the mountains. And by the time I'm home, the problem is solved. Like
That's great.
there is something about nature that allows my brain to brain.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's so beautiful and inspiring to boot. That's great. But I have to say, this was maybe even a few months ago. I saw a video that you posted, and it had three little bear cubs
Oh,
playing on your hammock, and
yep, in my
I was so
backyard.
envious. That was
Yeah.
so cute. So
Yes.
cute.
Yes. The mom, she was so exhausted, she just like you could tell that she had just had her hands full and she just thought, it was her. She was the one in the hammock. The kids were the ones running around and then they
Oh.
wouldn't leave her alone. They kept trying to get her attention on the hammock and I just thought the girl just needs a break. Mom is just
Oh
needing a
my
break,
gosh.
and those cubs would not. But yeah, so yeah, they end up in my backyard. You got to make sure your trash is closed. Make sure you don't leave your bird seed outside.
Yes, I know. I, for the first time, put bird seed out. I'm like, I am doing it. They should be hibernating at this point. I should be okay for the
Yep.
month of late December through about
Right.
mid-February. I put bird seed out, which was really, really nice. I got to see a
Yes.
lot of the different birds in the area, but I haven't seen any black bears
Oh,
near my house yet. So that's why I
yeah.
was so envious. They're so
Yeah,
cute.
I tell everybody who doesn't live here and doesn't realize how thick they are around here. I said they're on the ground like squirrels. Like you will be driving down Main Street and there's a black bear that looks both ways and then crosses the road.
How does your dog deal with it?
He barks.
Yeah,
I
okay.
call it the bear boof because it's a different bark than anything else. It's not even really a bark because they're scary to him. They're big, and so he just does the bear boof, which is just kind of a boop.
Okay.
That's what he does.
Just letting you know that
Yes, and
something's
that's
out
what
there,
and that
Mama.
anytime I hear that noise, I'm like, okay, where's the bear?
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Well, besides being an avid hiker like me, what else can you tell us about yourself? Just whatever you'd like to share.
Oh my goodness. Well, I can tell you that this is the first year I am trying my hand at gardening. So I very much expect to get, the tomato that's this big around and,
Yes.
the cucumber that's like this, because I think the first year is just for learning. But I'm super excited about it. I built raised beds last year. They've been overwintering with all of the good stuff in them.
Yes.
So yes, and I haven't tried to do my own seedlings, like, from a seed, grow them inside. That may be for next year, but I have purchased plants. They are in the ground currently, and we are crossing our fingers that maybe
Oh,
we get
great.
some food out of it.
Oh, great. Oh, that's so much fun. I have thought about it, but man, I've tried to do just tomatoes in a container and they just, like you
Oh, I know.
said, they just never really do
Yep.
anything. And I'm like, I'm not going to go through the whole trouble of
Right.
building these raised beds with, getting these little
Well,
mini things. Yeah.
exactly. That's my fear is that I spent all these hundreds of dollars on all the material to make food, and I'll be lucky at the end of the year if I get a
Make one
salad out
salad.
of it, right? Like I got like an $800 salad out of it. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll have to check in and see how it goes later on this summer. Well, it was so much fun getting swept up, you know, s- swept up again, I should say, into your Black Knight's world. But before we talk about Black Widow, I was wondering if you could just give us a glimpse into your Black Knights Inc. world. You have a couple of different series now, just so that
Sure.
readers kind of know where to get
Yeah.
started, maybe.
So I started eons ago writing Black Knights Incorporated. The first book actually came out in 2012, and I was volunteering at the USO. I was living in Chicago at the time. I was volunteering at the USO, which for people who don't know what the USO is, they're basically canteens that are set up around the country, particularly in touristy spots for service members to come in with their family, cool off, get drinks, get snacks, that type of thing. So I was volunteering at the USO on Navy Pier in Chicago and was seeing, lots of service members, hearing the stories, thinking about writing a romantic suspense, but couldn't really find my hook. And at the time on television, huge, everyone was into it, was Sons of Anarchy.
Mm,
And I remember watching the show and loving the show, but by like season 3 or 4, you really didn't have anybody to root for anywhere anymore because no one was heroic. Like these were all very terrible people. And
yeah.
so I thought to myself, I was like, well, I how could I do that, but in a way that I wanted to root for the characters. And so that's kind of how the mashup of these spec ops soldiers who are working under the guise of custom motorcycle manufacturers kind of came together. So it was the world of black ops and motorcycle riders. and so,
Oh,
and
that's
and
great.
Black Knights Incorporated was born. I tell everybody they're spies on bikes who save the world and get the girl.
That's a perfect summary. That is great. That is great. So did you, whenever you were writing some of these books, did you go back to your USO guys there and ask them clarifying questions and
Okay,
things like that?
so yes, and so funnily enough, I didn't on book one. I just winged that, did some Googling and winged it. And then I was inundated with emails from people because I made this mistake. I said that the hero, he had used his thumb to thumb off the safety on his Glock.
Oh no,
And,
not the
and
safety.
yes, and email
Yeah.
after email after email of people telling me that a Glock doesn't have a
Yeah.
thumb safety.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought, okay,
That's great.
well, obviously I need to get better at this. I need to actually talk to people who know about these things before I put it on the page. And then I wouldn't go to the USO guys. I actually, this was, like I said, this was way back. This is eons ago. I introduced myself to a couple of online chat groups that were former military and said, feel free to kick me out, but I'm a writer and I just would love to tiptoe in occasionally and ask some questions if you guys are comfortable answering that. And there were two chat groups that said, when you want to give us a ring, tell us what
Oh,
your
how
question
nice.
is and we'll answer. And so, yeah, they were my touchstone for many, many years. Now I have a folder that's like this thick of weaponry and what it involves and all of that kind of good stuff. But
Yes.
I can tell you one of the funny stories I had from that is that I had a very specific question about how much C4 it was going to take to blow up a bridge. And they all came back to me and were like, well, we can't give you the specifics because that might land us in jail. But we can give you a
Yes.
vague idea.
That's great. That is great. Yes, I've heard that before with some authors who get into that spy and
Yes.
military thriller that they tend to leave things out. Like they don't
Yes.
want you to know how to make a
No,
bomb and things like that.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
That's wonderful. That was brave of you to approach those online groups and
Well, I
ask if you
figured,
could come in. That's
yeah,
amazing. Good for
the worst
you.
they could tell me was no, and
Yeah.
then I would have to find somebody else who knew about the not having some thumb safety on a Glock. So,
Yes, I don't know where I first heard that, but I heard that
yeah,
there are a number of authors who got
Yeah,
that
they will
wrong,
people,
and
yes, they
they do
will get
not
you on the
hesitate to tell
weaponry.
you.
Oh,
Yes, the
mm-mm.
weaponry is a big deal. Yeah,
Yep.
not just the Glock safety. A lot of it.
Yes.
That's great. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, if you don't mind, so we talked about the world a little bit more.
Sure.
You've got the Black Knights Incorporated, which I think you've got maybe 12 books, if I'm
Yes, in the
correct.
original series there are 12, and in the newest series there are six. You read the fifth one, that's what we're talking about today, and the sixth one
Yeah.
is coming out in November, and then that
Okay,
series
great.
will be done as well. So,
All right. So it's a 6 book series. So yeah, let's
yes.
find out a little bit more about Black Widow.
Okay. So Black Widow is the fifth in the Black Knights Incorporated Reloaded series, which is the spin-off series from the original 12 books because readers were not done with the world. I
Yes.
took a break because I was done with the world for a little while. You as an author know that you can just you sometimes you just need a palate cleanse. You need something
Absolutely.
different because the inspiration kind of goes out the window when you've been writing in that world for a long time. So, yeah, I came back to it and when I was ready and loved it and found my inspiration again. And so, Black Widow is the fifth book in the spinoff series. And the protagonists are Sabrina and Hewitt. And Hewitt is the Black Knight. Sabrina is their social media maven. She's introduced previously in the series. She has a lot of baggage that she brings with her, and yeah, she gets, like, I guess just to give it a kind of a Cliff's Notes version, she gets abducted by a group of assassins, and Hewitt has to save her. And the reason she's abducted by this group of assassins is because I call him the big bad, which is usually the big scary antagonist throughout the entire series, has finally decided that he wants to expose Black Knights Incorporated to the world, and this is how he's going to do it: is through abducting Sabrina and holding her for ransom and getting the Black Knights in there to kind of set them up, type of thing. And so
Hmm.
yeah, that's the whole thing. Is it's sort of a abduction slash ransom slash savior story.
Yeah, no, it's a great read, and I tell you, so the book is named Black Widow. You have a character named Black
Yep.
Widow in there, right? So
Yep.
she is something. I don't know where you got your inspiration for her, but my goodness, she is a baddie baddie.
Yes, she
Wow,
is.
great
I
character.
so I always, and this is a choice that I make, and a lot some readers don't enjoy it, and some authors really don't enjoy it. But I always write from the part of I write from multiple points of view in my novels, but I always write from the antagonist's point of view too, because I think there's a sick part of me that likes to get into the headspace of somebody kind of
Yeah.
evil.
You're trying to figure it out, right? You're trying to
Yes.
figure it out in a sense. I have done it many times, not on every book, but I've done it many times myself where the antagonist has a POV and it gets it's like almost like it's a mechanism for you to get some of the darkest things that can pop up
Exactly.
in your mind out.
That's
And
exactly right.
there's a kind of a funny thing that you hear in the thriller world where thriller writers are really, really nice, and that's because they get all of the nastiness in their head onto the
Yep.
page. And I think
Yes.
romantic suspense is absolutely the
Absolutely.
same.
No, you're totally right. Yeah, I get to be my worst self when I can write from the antagonist's point of view. Like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, she was amazing. And all of, the whole crew that she's with, you did a wonderful job giving them individual characteristics so that
Yeah,
when they spoke, you knew who was talking.
right, right.
And so yeah, no, really great job with that.
Well, thank you. I love that you're talking about the antagonists of the story as opposed to the protagonists because I love them.
I
I
know.
mean, they're evil and they deserve to be, but they were fun to write.
Yeah, they always are. They just
Yep.
always are.
Hmm.
It's harder to make a good character uh just really compelling than it is to
Yes.
make a bad character
Yes,
compelling. I don't know what
yes,
that
I
says
agree.
about
No,
us
I
and
don't know
our
what it says. Probably nothing good, but yeah, you're right.
Well, speaking of your protagonists, because Hugh and Sabrina, they're separated a good portion of
Yes,
this story, and you used a very interesting technique to reveal their history, which also had this added benefit of bringing them together on the page, which is, as
right.
romance readers, that's what we love, right?
Yep, yep.
Did you find it difficult to weave that present and past together? And did you have fun coming up with those moments for them?
So yeah, as you pointed out, like the one of the big no-nos in romance is to separate your two protagonists. You know, they say get them together and keep them together. That's like
Yeah.
rule number one when you write a romance novel. But I have done what I did in Black Widow a couple of times because I don't like to be boxed in by the get them together and keep them together.
Yes.
And but you still want their interaction, and so if you're going to separate them, you have to give the reader a way to see them together. And so what I did in Black Widow was there would be instances in the narrative where either character, either Sabrina or Hewitt, would reflect on a time when they were together. Something would be happening in the narrative and it would be a reminder of this time together. And then I would show that on the page. And for any, newbie writers out there, if you're struggling with the get them together and keep them together, that is like kind of an easy way to still write a romance and let it be satisfying for the reader. But allow your characters to not be together 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't find it difficult. I think it's because I have used that before, that tool, that mechanism. And I quite enjoy it. Like I like
Yeah.
giving the reader little glimpses of what their life was like.
Yeah, it was giving them glimpses of what their life was like, how I guess slowly falls in love with her and how she
Yeah.
slowly falls in love with him. And it also reveals a lot of their character. It functions on so many different levels.
Good. I'm
It was a
glad.
great tool for you as an author. I just
I'm
wonderful
glad it
tool.
came across because I
Yeah.
love friends to lovers. Like what's most what sells the best is always enemies to lovers. That's what I think the majority of readership likes, but I
Yes.
tend to fall back on friends to lovers. I just like people who like each other before they jump into bed together, Like
Yes,
for
I hear
whatever,
you.
yes, that just does it for me. So
Yeah.
I did the one trope that I love, which is friends to lovers, and then I did another trope which I have never done before because I freaking hate it when other people use this, but it's miscommunication. It's two characters that just will not spit out what they're thinking and feeling and tell each other about it. And so there's all of this drama that results because of that. I've never used it before because I freaking hate it when I read it, but I used it in this book for the first time. And the funny thing is, I didn't set out to write it that way, but I kept thinking, and maybe this is too technical for the listeners, but it's one of those things where you there are certain mechanisms that you use in writing when you're putting together any sort of novel, whatever the genre is. And one of those is, well, I'll just go back to the miscommunication. I hate miscommunication because they're adults and they should just talk about it and tell each other how they feel, right? But there was
Yeah.
no way for Hugh and Sabrina, who were such good friends, to, in romance, you get them together, you keep them together until you pull them apart and then you put them back together. That's kind of the skeleton of
Right.
romance, right? And
Yep.
so I kept thinking, well, what would ever pull these two people apart who adore each other and are, best friends with each other? What could keep them apart? And it was that neither one of them wanted to cross that line of saying, I feel more for you than friendship, because what if it ruins their friendship? So both of them were fearful of crossing that line. And so it was a miscommunication trope. I wrote it, but it was the only way it worked in this book.
You did great. It all worked out.
Thanks.
It did great, which gives the reader, which is very popular these days, that slow burn romance too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So absolutely it worked. It was great. Well, on this show, we like to talk about a story stakes. I always joke, love, death, and the fate of the realm are all high
Yeah.
stakes in a story, which we love. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on what was personally at stake for Hugh and Sabrina in this story.
Okay, so for Sabrina, and this is, I'm not going to try to go into it too much because you'd kind of have to read the series, but
Yep.
she comes into the world of Black Knights Incorporated kind of a broken woman. Like her brother was killed, she was involved with a drug cartel that she was running from, and then the Black Knights kind of took her in and gave her a safe space to land. They gave her found family because she had lost her brother, which was the only family she had. Um, so when she gets abducted and she realizes what Black Widow and her team are trying to do to the Black Knights, which is not only expose them, but kill whoever needs to be killed so that they can be exposed, she is left with this, decision of, do I let myself be the damsel in distress and let these people who have done so much for me walk into this trap, or do I do everything I can to try to throw a wrench in things? And so that's the stakes for her, and she does. She ends up getting out of her restraints. She finds a weapon. She kills one of the bad guys. So that's the stakes for her, is that she is trying to do everything she can to stop the plan of exposing and killing the Black Knights. And for Hugh, she's been abducted and she's his best friend. And when the ransom comes in, he knows that her life is on the line. And he's watched her go from this kind of like this fragile, broken thing into this strong, thriving woman. And has, like we discussed previously, he's grown to love and care about her. And he tells her, like, all the secrets that he hasn't told anyone. Hugh has a lot of baggage too. He grew up in the system, was orphaned at a very young age as a baby, and lots of trauma for him there. And he tells her the secrets that he has never felt comfortable telling anybody else. And so for him, she's his best friend. And at the time, as he's trying to save her, they are nothing more than best friends. But he has to go try to save his best friend's life, no matter what it takes.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great, great, great. All right. Well, how do you keep a long-standing series such as this fresh for readers as well as for yourself, the author?
Is it?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
after 18 books, I'm like, have I done this before? Like that, I
I
need to go
know.
back and check. Like, did
Yeah.
I do this one already? No, I think the world changes, and I wish I could be one of those authors who pumps out, 5 or 6 books a year, but I'm lucky if I get out two. And so I always start with the plot. It's not the romance, it's the thriller portion of the plot, the suspense portion of the plot. And I do what I have termed, and I'm probably not unique in this, somebody else probably said it first, but I read between the headlines. And so that's where my plot comes from, is that I just pay attention to the news, and anytime that there's something is interesting going on in the world, I think, what's the story
Hmm.
behind the story? Yeah, why do we not know? And then a plot line will spring to mind, and that's the next Black Knights Incorporated novel. So,
Uh,
yeah.
okay. Okay, great. Alrighty, wonderful. Well, I always wrap things up with a question, and feel free to already use the one that you talked about earlier whenever you talked a little bit more about yourself. But what's one thing readers might be surprised to learn about you?
Oh gosh. So people, and I think this is true for most readers, they think that we as writers like all grew up knowing that we wanted to be writers. And I always loved reading, still do. Always wrote because I found it satisfying. But my dad told me when I went to college that, nobody makes it as a writer or a journalist, because I had been the editor of my high school newspaper. And he says, you need to go get a hard science degree so you can make some money. And so I got a degree in advanced mathematics. And before I wrote my first book, I taught AP calculus for a number of years. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I
I'm
know. And the
pumped down
funny
to you.
thing, I know. And so that's my background. That's my professional background is in mathematics. And the funny thing is that after Black Knights Incorporated debuted, way back eons ago, back in 2012, and hit I think the second novel hit the New York Times and USA Today, and I was so excited,
Mhm.
and told my parents that new bestseller and all that kind of good stuff. And my dad says, "Well, that's great, but thank goodness you have that math degree to fall back on if this all falls apart." Like, thanks,
Parents.
Dad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you gotta love them. You have got to
I
love them,
know. So I
right?
still do. In case this thing doesn't work out for me, I've still got that math degree.
All right, perfect. All right. Plan B, plan B.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
before we go, can you share what's coming up next? I know you mentioned that the sixth book is coming out in
yes.
November, I believe.
Yep.
Is that what you're
So
working on now, or are you
so
even
that one
ahead of the
is,
game?
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one is finished. That one's in the pipe, getting editing and copy editing and all that kind of stuff done. It's called Fade to Black, and it's
Ah,
the last in the Black Knights Incorporated Reloaded series. And then I am currently working on a women's fiction. So not romance and not thriller, something completely different. And I'm almost finished with that. And I don't know if I'm going to be publishing that under Julianne Walker or perhaps a pen name, since it is, so far outside the genre
independent.
that I
Yeah.
write in. But I'm loving it. We'll see if
Oh, great.
readers feel the same. So, and then
Yeah.
and then after that, I am starting another romantic suspense series. Don't know what the titles are going to be yet. But it is the hacker group that has been introduced in Black Knights Incorporated Reloaded, and that's going to be less spies on bikes who save the world and more almost like anonymous hacker groups who
Yes.
save the
Yeah.
world. Very much going to be a Mission Impossible, because it's going to be focusing on a lot of tech. So yeah, that'll be
Oh,
fun.
I love that. Well, we have another Black Knights book to look forward to later this year, and then your women's fiction, and then that'll be wonderful to dive into too. It sounds amazing. So
Perfect.
I'm very happy to hear that we have more coming along the way here. Uh, Black Widow, folks. Be sure to order your copy today. It's amazing, just like all of Julie's books are. Please, if you haven't tried any of her Black Knights books, please jump in. Would you say start with book one of the series
Uh,
if they haven't tried, or could they
you
just
know,
jump right into
they
Black Widow?
can. Each of them are standalones.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want the full picture, then yeah, start at the beginning. Go all the way back to
Okay.
2012 and Hell on Wheels. That was the title
All
of the
right.
first one.
All right, perfect, perfect. Well, you can learn more about Julie by visiting her website at juliannewalker.com, where you'll find all of her social media links, and then be sure to also sign up for her newsletter while you're there. Jules, thank you so much for joining me. It was great reconnecting and chatting with you about this amazing book.
It was. Thank you so much, Tracy. I appreciate you.
That's it for today's high stakes story. Follow the show so the next episode lands right in your feed. And if you enjoyed today's chat, a quick rating or review helps new listeners find us. Visit tracydevlyn.com/podcast for show notes and links to today's amazing guest and their fabulous book. High Stakes is a proud member of the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. Thanks for listening. Until next time, enjoy the adventure, everyone.